When you spend money, the same part of your brain that processes physical pain lights up. I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'll explain how that works and why it's important. Researchers put people in fMRI brain scanners and watch them decide to pay for stuff. And here's the thing. Every payment innovation, from credit cards to Apple Pay to one-click ordering, has been designed to make that pain disappear. Have you ever noticed that handing over cash feels different than swiping a card? Or that tapping your phone barely registers at all? That's not just in your head. Well, actually, it is in your head, but in a very specific, measurable way. I'm Roger Dooley. I write about neuromarketing and behavioral science, and I've been fascinated by this research since it first came out back in 2007. Today, I'm going to show you what happens in your brain when you buy something, why modern payment methods are specifically engineered to short-circuit your brain's natural spending brakes, and what this means, whether you're a marketer trying to sell more or a consumer trying to spend less. So let's start with the science. In 2007, a team of researchers from Stanford, my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon, and MIT ran a clever experiment. They gave people real cash, put them in an fMRI machine, and showed them products at various prices. Some were good deals, some were rip-offs. The subjects could buy or keep their money. What they found was remarkable. When people saw prices that seemed too high, a region called the anterior insula activated. Now, this is the same brain region that processes physical pain and disgust. The brain was literally treating an unfair price like a painful stimulus. But here's what really got my attention. The brain scans predicted buying behavior almost as well as asking people what they intended to do. Without knowing anything about what the subjects said they would buy, the researchers could look at the brain activity and predict their decisions. Why does that matter? Because people don't always tell you the truth about their purchase intentions. Sometimes they don't even know themselves. The brain scan cuts through that. Now, for years, behavioral economists talk about the pain of paying as a useful metaphor. In 2016, researcher Nina Mazar and her colleagues proved that it wasn't just a metaphor. They showed that paying actually activates pain circuitry in the brain. They even did something clever when they primed subjects with words that are pain-related, like anguish. Before showing prices, people's willingness to pay dropped. You could literally manipulate the pain of paying by making the pain more salient. So have you ever felt a visceral reaction to an outrageous price, say a $12 beer at a concert venue? That's the pain of paying. Your brain is treating that price like it's physically hurting you. Now, one thing I learned when I interviewed George Lowenstein, one of the original researchers, is that this pain isn't just about the dollar amount. It's about context and perceived fairness. Think about it. You can spend hundreds on car accessories without flinching because it's a small add-on to a huge purchase. But that $8 soft drink at a concert? Infuriating. Auto dealers figured this out long ago. If you price leather seats separately, customers might compare that to, say, a leather sofa they purchased. But bundle leather seats, premium sound, and a sunroof into a luxury package, and nobody can calculate if any individual item is fairly priced. The value becomes ambiguous, and ambiguity reduces pain. This same principle explains why all-inclusive resorts and cruise lines are so popular. Pay once at booking and then enjoy free drinks and meals for a week. The pain happens once. Everything after feels like a gift. Now here's where it gets really interesting for our modern world. Since that 2007 study, payment technologies evolved dramatically, and each innovation has found new ways to eliminate what little pain remained. Start with credit cards. Lowenstein pointed out that the credit card industry has known for years that plastic takes the pain out of purchasing. When you pull cash from your wallet, you feel it leaving. When you swipe a card, the pain gets pushed into the future where it might be paid in small increments. Then came contactless cards. A 2024 Dutch study found that contactless payments hurt the least of any card-based method. And here's the kicker. Users rated them as the least helpful for preventing overspending. People know they're losing control, but they keep using them anyway. Mobile payments take it even further. When you pay with your phone, the transaction becomes nearly invisible. No wallet, no card, just a tap. Recent research identified why this works so well. First, you never see money change hands in any form. Second, your phone does 100 things. It's not a dedicated spending device like a credit card. So, paying doesn't feel as significant. And get this, for small purchasers, researchers found mobile payments actually create a pleasure of payment. The transaction is so frictionless, it feels almost like fun. Then there's Amazon's one-click ordering. This might be the ultimate expression of painless paying. You go from wanting the product to having it shipped with a single click. You don't choose a payment method. You don't see your card. The decision was made in the past. Amazon reportedly saw conversion rates jump 5 to 10% when they introduced this. That's not just convenience, that's pain elimination. So what's the takeaway here? If you're a marketer or business owner, the lesson is clear. Reduce payment friction and you'll sell more. Subscriptions, bundles, one-click purchasing, these aren't just conveniences. They're tools that work because they reduce the neurological pain your customers feel when spending money. If you're a consumer, and we all are, the warning is equally clear. The natural break that cash provided, that moment of counting out bills, is disappearing. U.S. credit card debt recently topped $1.2 trillion. More than 40% of Americans don't use cash for any purchases in a typical week. The easier it is to pay, the harder it is to control spending. The brain science isn't going away, but understanding it gives you a fighting chance, whether you're trying to close more sales or keep your budget intact. I've got a full article on this with links to the original research, a comparison table of payment methods and their pain levels, and some additional studies I didn't have time to cover here. I'll put a link in the description. It's on my neuromarketing blog. If you found this useful and want more content on the science of persuasion and consumer behavior, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.